Women's World Cup in action right now. We bring you our version of the World Cup. It's Marble Soccer. Hello, welcome to MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. I'm Rick O'Shea, glad to have you here for our Marble Soccer tournament. There is the beautiful cup that these teams will be competing for. 16 teams. There are many representatives of those teams, and some of the countries that aren't even being represented here today in this competition have some fans and onlookers watching on. See Argentina, we saw Vietnam just a second ago. Large supporting sections as always for Brazil. We've got Indonesia in this tournament. And down, of course, towards the bottom, the United States, one of the powerhouses of this competition. The way that this tournament will work is very simple. You're going to get one run with each other, kind of like collision soccer. And at the end of that one turn, which will be three marbles we're running at a time, whoever comes up with the most points, most goals scored, will move on. One and done. So the opportunities and the margin for error, very limited here in this competition. As you look at the 2019 team statistics, Brazil, Russia, England, right now in the medal spots, all the way down to Cameroon in 14th. And a look at our field for today's competition. Indonesia against France, and the Netherlands against Brazil in the bottom left quadrant. Top left is Argentina, Russia, Vietnam, and the Korean Republic. On the right side, it's the Philippines, Mexico, Colombia, and India. And then Malaysia, Portugal, and it's Canada against the United States in round number 1. But first we start in the bottom left of our bracket, and our first matchup today will be Indonesia against France. To the starting gates, and it is 4 marbles that will go for each of our teams. France in the dark blue, Indonesia in the clean white, and they are off, and the scoreboard shows 2-1 Indonesia. They will take out France. Here's a look at the replay. On the right side, you see France's first goal. There was Indonesia, and there's the winner on the left side of the screen, just sneaking in. And Indonesia will move on, beating France 2-1. The top right of the screen, and it is, or top right of the bracket, it's the United States against Canada. This is a big-time matchup. Canada on the left side in the mostly clear, USA in the silver. The United States has one. Here comes Canada. They're not going to get anything. And the U.S. lands one in the right goal, and that's enough to win it. Right there is the winner. And it looked for a moment as though a couple of the Canadian marbles were going to have a chance to roll their way in. They cannot. And the USA advances to the quarterfinals. Next up is Vietnam against the Korean Republic. There's Korea. There is Vietnam. Vietnam had a lot of success in their last tournament that they participated in. They're in the yellow. And they scored at least one there. Here comes another one. They will score again. And Vietnam with a 2-0 win over Korea. Put one in at the end there for some good measure. Right at the beginning they score one, and then at the end, wasn't the same marble. It almost looked for a second as though it was the same marble that scored twice. It wasn't, but it is 2 marbles for Vietnam that find their way into the goals and win this one by a final of 2-0. Mexico against the Philippines now. Mexico again in the green and black, and the Philippines white, blue, red. Matchups. Oh, that's at least 2 for Mexico. The Philippines won't do anything, and Mexico scores 2 right off the bat in the right corner and are able to win this one by a final of 2-0. There's 1, there's 2, and that's all they need. One held it in the basket, the other one came back out of the goal to try to score another, but it's 2-0 again, and that is 3 consecutive rounds now that we've seen one of the teams being held scoreless. The U.S. won 1-0, Vietnam won 2-0, and there Mexico 2-0. This matchup is the Netherlands and Brazil. Very colorful and unique marbles here. That may have been a couple for Brazil. It's 3-1 as the Netherlands pick up 1. I'll tell you what, that one marble for the Netherlands trying to score again. That was the one that did score for the Netherlands, and 1-2. And then on the left side, you saw Brazil put in one extra one, and then the Netherlands scored their one marble. It's a 3-1 win, and Brazil is moving on. They will face Indonesia in the second round. Back to the right side, and it's Malaysia in the yellow and black. Maybe it's brown, hard to tell there. They'll take on Portugal in the green. They are off, and Malaysia scores a couple. Portugal puts in only one, and Malaysia is going to move on to take on the United States. One on each side for Malaysia. Made contact right in the middle of the field there and split off one way and the other, and they both go in. So a good run there for Malaysia. They're going to take on the U.S. And now it's Russia against Argentina, and the winner gets Vietnam. Argentina in the white and light blue. Almost solid red for Russia. And they will be denied. Oh, at the last moment. Nope, that marble is not going to go. Right on the line, it does not cross. And Russia is eliminated by a 1-0 score. There's the one score off the post and in for Argentina. And at the very end, Russia unable to get that last marble to just roll a little bit further. About 50-50, but it's got to go in. It did not, and Russia is eliminated. Argentina is moving on. That is an absolute killer. And now the final first round matchup is India against Colombia. Colombia in their classic yellow, blue, and red. Whoa, somebody fell off the entire course. Here comes India at the last moment to score and win. Yeah, look at that. It looks like it was, one of the Indian marbles didn't even make it onto the course properly. Fell off the ramp there. And at the last second, rolling in, and none of the Colombian marbles were there to try to make a block. And so, unimpeded, India goes in for the score and the 1-0 win. And the first round is complete. And now we play for a spot in the semifinals. First matchup is Indonesia against Brazil. Brazil put in 3, which was the most we've seen in the first round. They take on the first game winner, and that's Indonesia, who has 1. Indonesia now has 2, and Brazil doesn't pick up any. How about that? Indonesia with a bit of an upset. They win this one by a final of 2-0. And they've outscored their opponents 4-1 now through their first 2 rounds as they head to the semifinals. And they are now guaranteed a spot, at least in a competition to get onto the podium for Indonesia, who doesn't always participate. Here's one team that always does participate, the United States, as they take on Malaysia. 3 entire rows of supporters for both of these countries. Yellow and black against silver and white. They are off. And the United States has a couple. Malaysia put in 1, but it's 3 for the United States, and the USA is moving on. The left side put in 2 for the US, and the right side had 1 for each, so it's the left side scoring only US goals that ends up costing Malaysia their chance. And the United States is on to the semifinals, and now Argentina takes on Vietnam. Vietnam in the red and yellow. They've got 1, and it looks like that might be all we get. Everybody else is towards the center of the field. It is, and Vietnam wins it by a final of 1-0. They are on to the semifinals in a low-scoring affair, and it's going to be Indonesia against Vietnam in one of the semifinals. The United States waits for the winner of India and Mexico. India winning with that last-second goal. Mexico looks pretty confident in their win. Did Mexico score? I don't know if we had a score there. Yep, we did get one. As the scoreboard shows, Mexico won. Yeah, there it is. It came out very quickly, but it did go in at the very beginning. Mexico is moving on as they shut out India 1-0. Into the semifinals now. Two powerhouses, the United States and Mexico. Two underdogs, Indonesia and Vietnam. We begin with the underdogs. Indonesia had a nice run there last time. And they're going to do it again. They're going to get another one to fall in. The last one at the end for an exclamation mark couldn't quite go, but 2-1, Indonesia is into the final. Once again, the inability to block becomes very important as that one Vietnam marble unable to block the other Indonesian. And Indonesia nearly put in a third one just for good measure. 2-1 ends up as the final. And now we get the United States against Mexico. And they are off. Mexico's got a couple. The U.S. is in trouble. They're not going to score any. 2-0. Mexico is into the finals. As the U.S. is unable to score. And now we will see Vietnam against the United States for third place. Disappointing finish for the U.S., who looked pretty confident going through those first two rounds, but now they're going to have to battle with Vietnam for a spot on the podium. The United States have two, maybe three. They do give them that third one. Vietnam scored only one, and 3-1 is the final. The U.S. takes third place. They get on the podium. And now the sights are turned towards Mexico and Indonesia. Mexico has had a lot of success in these tournaments, getting deep into the tournament runs. They've won a couple of tournaments. They look for another against Indonesia, a huge underdog. But Indonesia has been very impressive. As you see there, 2 rows of supporters, 3 full rows for Mexico. Maybe a little bit of David versus Goliath as they head to the field. Mexico's got a couple. Indonesia scored only one. Mexico is going to win it 3-1 the final, and the Mexicans again take home the gold. Valiant effort by Indonesia, but they had a couple of marbles that didn't even make contact with anyone else, and when you have a couple of marbles that just run free, makes it a lot harder. Mexico is the winner. Indonesia gets the runner-up spot, and third place to the United States. Impressive run by Indonesia, but it wasn't to be as Mexico gets the win. They take home a very impressive trophy for this competition. First place to Mexico, second place to Indonesia, and the bronze goes to the United States. Congratulations to Mexico and all of our competitors, as this was a very hard-fought competition. And ultimately, the Mexicans take home gold for the marble. Hello and welcome back to MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. I am Ricochet here for Marble UFC. As you see our octagon, the setting for today's matchup in what is a very daunting course. And the octagon that will present many challenges for these countries. Again, tournament style, as you see the MUFC octagon, which features 5 different spots there that are notated on the screen that will result in knockouts. And if you are going to be knocked out, that means that you will lose your opportunity as a marble representing these countries here, as you see some of those countries on the screen. 1 go for both of these teams that will face off against each other. And whoever has the most marbles standing at the end of that turn will advance and have an opportunity to move further and further into this tournament. As always, the goal of these tournaments is to win the trophy and earn the gold. A podium finish is obviously huge for these countries as well. As you see the team statistics for the MUFC, and there's the countries being represented. The Netherlands, Turkey, Brazil, and Russia in one quadrant. Vietnam makes an appearance, along with Mexico, Canada, and India. And on the right side, it's Spain, Indonesia, the United States, and Peru. And the top right quadrant is France, Argentina, Portugal, and England. And there is the trophy to be awarded. Our first matchup will be the Netherlands against Turkey. Turkey in the being represented with the orange, almost red-looking marbles. Mostly white for the Netherlands. They make their way through the course, and then they will collide. A lot of collisions going back and forth, and it is a knockout for the Netherlands. They lose one of their marbles, and we'll have a look on the replay. That will eliminate the Netherlands. And so Turkey moves on. Look at this replay. A ton of collisions, and right here, everybody gets pretty close, and it ends up being the Netherlands that drops into that one knockout spot. So tight match, but Turkey wins it. And we'll go to the top right, and it'll be England versus Portugal. England with blue and white, Portugal in the green. And they make their way through, and no knockouts yet. Now a knockout for England. And they knock out a couple. 2 drop for the English, and they will be eliminated by Portugal. That one lasted a pretty long time there. On the right side, you see knockout number 1, and right behind it, knockout number 2. So England held on for as long as they could, but they are eliminated in the first round. Portugal moves on. And we now get Canada against India. These are similar-looking marbles. The more white-based marbles belong to India, and the clear marbles belonging to Canada. Into the octagon they go. There's a knockout. Let's see if we get another. We don't, but it didn't matter because those were both Canadian marbles anyway. And so India is going to advance. And what we've seen, that bottom right knockout spot has been popular so far. Just missed it. Did one of the Indian marbles on the middle in the bottom screen. And they move on to play for the quarterfinal, and now it is Indonesia against Spain. This is the bottom right side. Indonesia in the plain white, yellow and red. For Spain, into the octagon they go, and Spain has a knockout, as does Indonesia, and a second one drops for Indonesia. They had the lead for a moment, but dropped one in the middle, and again, that bottom right knockout spot costs them, and Indonesia will go down. As you look at the replay, right there is one for Spain, and then in a matter of just moments, things went from looking good to very downhill for Indonesia, as they dropped one in the middle and in the bottom right to lose this match. So Spain will move on. You see their supporting section. And they are into the quarterfinal, and now we get Brazil against Russia. Each quadrant has one representative in the quarterfinals. Russia and Brazil, the winner, will move on to the quarterfinals. Russia in the dark red, Brazil with yellow and blue. And they are through, making their way down. We want to avoid being knocked out. There's 2 knockouts. And that's all we're going to get. They're going to be both knocked out for Russia. Brazil holds on with all of their marbles. Russia loses 2. They are eliminated. And looking at the replay, pretty dominant win. There is one. Nice assist by Brazil. Knocked one in. And so Brazil will move on to face Turkey in the quarterfinals. We head to France against Argentina. France with the brighter blue color, the light blue, silver and white of Argentina. In they go. Couple of knockouts, and now a third, and that will cost France, as France and Argentina both had an early knockout. There's the one for Argentina, there's the first for France, and right there, bottom right, once again, costs one of the countries, as France drops their second, they're eliminated, and Argentina will get to face Portugal in the quarterfinal. Now it is Vietnam against Mexico. And there are the Vietnamese and the Mexicans. Vietnam making an appearance on this channel for the first time in a while. And they are in some trouble. Oh, no, they're going to come through. It looked like the one marble for Vietnam on the bottom right was going to drop, but instead it's Mexico on the bottom left. Look at the replay. There's one for both. And then on the right side, it looked like Vietnam was going to drop a second. Meanwhile, the second Mexican marble fell on in, and Vietnam advances to take on India. And the final matchup of the first round is Peru against the United States. The USA in the silver metallic-looking marbles, and mostly white for Peru. Let's see who makes it through and clinches the last spot in the quarterfinal. It will be the United States, as they keep all four, and an assist, as you'll look at the replay, will show that the U.S. right here made sure that there was no chance for them to lose. Even if that one stray marble for the U.S. went in, an assist by the United States advances them into the quarterfinals. So second round matchups now. It's Turkey on the left side and Brazil on the right. Turkey won the first matchup of this UFC fighting, and they will go home. Wow, that was tight. But ultimately, right here, one was going to have to go in. It was just a matter of which one. And fighting tooth and nail, Brazil just pushes Turkey into the knockout spot, and they knock them out of this tournament. And moving on into the semifinals, it'll be Portugal against Argentina now. That was a huge move by Brazil to get into the semis. And we'll see who makes the big move here. Portugal and Argentina in the MUFC. There is one for Argentina, two for Argentina, and all stay standing for Portugal. Very fast pace. And again at the end, it looked like Portugal might drop one, but that still would not have been enough. So Portugal is into the semifinals. They will face either Spain or the United States, but first it's India against Vietnam. Vietnam just survived in their first round matchup. As you saw the Indian supporters. And away they go. Spot in the semis on the line. Faces Brazil. One goes in for Vietnam, and that will be the only one to go. And India is into the semifinals. Right there, India had one hit off that middle, and then they were headed for the bottom right, but it was Vietnam that fell first, and so India survives and advances to the semis. And now the last semifinal participant will be determined between the United States and Spain. The U.S. bullied their way into the second round. Now taking on Spain. Match coming. Into the octagon they go. The U.S. has one fall. Spain has two fall. And that's it. The United States is into the semifinals. Again, the team to fall first, have their first knockout, once again ends up being the one to win. Oh, so close. It looked like it was going to stay in the octagon, but Spain has their second fall into the knockout, and we are going to the semifinals with the United States as the final participant. But first, back to the left side of the bracket, and it is Brazil against India. Brazil just took out Turkey. India disposing of Vietnam. Very close. India has one. Brazil has one. India has their second fall, and they are eliminated. On the left side, very quietly, Brazil had their first fall in. Almost two more falling in. That was pretty tight there. But almost a third fell for India, but eventually, very slowly making their way into the knockout hole. And so Brazil is in the final. India will play for third, and they will face either Portugal or the US. The loser goes to the third place match. The winner goes to the championship. We just saw the United States in a championship game where they lost to England. England eliminated in the first round of this matchup. Now they have Portugal in the semi. US has 2 in. Portugal is going to keep all of them on the board, and the United States is eliminated, and Portugal is going to the championship. Wow, look how close they are there to one of the knockout holes, although it wouldn't have mattered anyway, as the United States has 2 knockouts, and Portugal would have only had 1 even if that had gone in. So the U.S. is eliminated. They will play for third place. Portugal and Brazil will be in the championship matchup. But first we get that third place match between the United States and India. And they are off, playing for a spot on the podium. Into the octagon they go. The U.S. has 1. India has 1. They both have 2. And the United States picks up their third. And all of the knockout spots are filled. And India gets third. That is the first time we've seen that. They both fell in at the same time. And there goes number 3 for the United States, right before number 2 fell for India. So India takes third. They'll place on the podium. And now we come down to the championship matchup between Brazil and Portugal. 16 countries entered the octagon. Only 1 will survive and be turned into a champion and climb the podium for the first place prize. Here we go. Into the octagon they go. And 2 for Portugal. It's a clean sweep. Brazil holds on to all their marbles, and they win it to take home the MUFC title. Dominant performance in the championship. Nobody really got particularly close. And as we watch our champions and placers, first and second runner-ups, being crowned, third place goes to India, second place goes to Portugal, but the queen of the ball is Brazil as they take home the trophy. They place in first as they win MUFC with a dominant performance in the championship matchup. They took out some heavyweights, and in the end, they take out Portugal to win it. So for MSPN and Marble Fubeca, I'm Ricochet, and thanks for watching. Hello friends, and welcome back to MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. I am Ricochet here for a very interesting race and tournament that we will have with motorized boats powering our marbles. As you see a mock course on the screen right now, we're going to go through a little bit of a practice run to show you what this is going to be like. You see the starting gates there in the clear. Let them go, and then it is simply a motorized boat that is going to make its way and then hit one of those marbles that will help propel it towards a very large course here, which involves a lot of different loops and turns and funnels, making their way around. And there is a very large finishing portion of this course. A lot of different decisions to be made by those marbles, so obviously we'll try to get to that finish line first. Some of the countries being represented there are the United States and their supporters: Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, Italy, France. All very familiar with Marble Fubeca. I believe that is Ireland there. Haven't seen them very much. Belgium. A lot of different countries, and of course, as always, they are fighting to make it on the podium. Here are the competitors: Costa Rica, Italy, Russia, and Japan. And then the United States, the Korean Republic, Switzerland, and Portugal. And on the right side of the bracket, India, Spain, Brazil, and Australia. And then France, Argentina, Belgium, and Mexico. So a good mix of old and new, and some of the competitors that we've seen a lot, and some countries we have not necessarily seen a lot. Here's Costa Rica against Italy. Costa Rica is on the left side, Italy is on the right. Let's see which of these boats gets out first. Costa Rica is in the lead, and they are going to hit well ahead of Italy in the dark blue, who very, very softly made contact. And it is Costa Rica in the lead, making their way now through the red portion of this matchup, or up toward the red portion, I should say. Up and around, and they are now on the conveyor belt. And now the long red part of this course, which we have seen some marbles have had a chance to gain some speed and some momentum before they head into the large funnel, or tunnel, I guess I should say, making their way around. And it looks as though Italy is caught up just a tad bit. Lead still belongs to Costa Rica. Around, and now to the final part where you have to make your decision on where you're going to go. It looks like a pretty good run so far by Costa Rica. They are toward the finish, and they finish at a time of 56 seconds to take the win and eliminate Italy, who will finish at 1 minute and 3 seconds. So Costa Rica advances towards the quarterfinal, and we head to the top right of the bracket. It is Mexico against Belgium. Mexico on the left in their classic green and black, and it's Belgium in the yellow and black, and they've got the lead early. A very quick run on the boats, and now around to the relay. And a large lead early on. Let's see if Mexico can slow that down. They do. They pass Belgium in that first funnel. What a run by Mexico. Passing Belgium in the funnel, and they will be one prong ahead as we head on these conveyor belts. Big run by Mexico there at that first funnel to take the lead. And they are first to get down towards the large tunnel. Here they are. They're in, and now they will roll around the long portion of the track, head back towards one more funnel. Let's see if Belgium can teach them a trick. Do it to them as well. They cannot. This time it's Mexico coming in and out with the lead of that funnel. Slowed down just a tad bit. And now Belgium is in some trouble. They're right with each other. Belgium nearly took the lead, but it's Mexico that finishes first. And they beat them by just over, or just under, 0.2 of a second. A very tightly contested matchup with a lot of passes, and it goes the way of Mexico. Next matchup is Portugal against Switzerland. They are pretty even, but Switzerland, in the mostly clear on the right side, is in the lead as they get out first into that first funnel, and it is still Switzerland in the advantage. Long yellow portion of the track now, making their way toward the conveyor belt. They got stuck in a portion where there weren't many prongs, and so that lead evaporated there for Switzerland. They will make their way towards the tunnel first, trying to lengthen the lead. They've got a pretty good sized lead now. Let's see if they can get out of this funnel quickly, or if Portugal can cause problems. It is Switzerland. Mexico had a hard time here, nearly lost their entire lead, and it's going to happen again. Switzerland gets stuck. They get moved by Portugal. They retake the lead, and they win it. Portugal thought they were going to overcome them, but Switzerland got stuck on the course and then gets lodged free by Portugal, passes them up, and takes the win. Wow, that is devastating as we get India against Spain now, and Spain with an early lead. Let's see how big of a lead. They're already in that funnel. And here comes India in the white. Very close, and Spain out first. Oh, very nicely done, and it's going to be a one-prong lead that time for Spain. They came in right at the last moment when that prong was about to become unavailable. They are able to widen the lead just a little bit. Pretty good size advantage right now for Spain as they make their way into that big funnel. And now they are in the final funnel. And, oh, India almost made a big pass, but they cannot. And a pretty large lead for Spain right now. They will finish it off and get the win at 56 seconds, fastest time of the day finished up at a minute even by India. So Spain moves on. 4 teams into the quarterfinals. We'll get one more between Russia and Japan. It's pretty close right now. Neither really moving too well. Looks like it's Russia in the lead. They will take the lead. Oh, but look at that run. As Japan, with a very quick motion, they are going to pass up Russia, but Russia just passed them right back up. And they are gaining a little bit of momentum there, as a long time for Japan to get out of it. And a large lead now. That 3 or 4 prongs separating these two as they make their way on the conveyor belt. Already in the red portion of the track, a large lead for Russia. Making that way towards the second funnel. Moved a little slowly there, but still a large advantage. Let's see what Japan can do to try to offset that. Final portion of the track now for Russia. Here comes Japan, but is it too little too late? The answer is yes, as Russia will finish at a minute 6, and Japan will limp their way through at a minute and 10. Just over 4 seconds off the pace. Russia moves on. And now it is Argentina against France. Some of the prettier marbles in this matchup. And very slowly we get off the starting blocks there. And it is very close, but it is France in the lead, and now Argentina surpasses them. France, though, gets the inside line, and they get out of the funnel first. Just saw that happen with Japan and Russia, and now we see it once again with France and Argentina. Not a huge lead, but still a lead nonetheless for France, getting out of the conveyor belt. Through the tunnel and onto that final funnel, and the lead has grown just a tad bit for France over Argentina. Who gets the inside line? And it will be France out first. Let's see if they can build that lead. Not very much. Here comes Argentina. They've got the lead. France really struggling. They've got to hurry it up. It's going to be too little too late. A comeback win for Argentina as they win it by just under 2 seconds, and Argentina moves on. So not a great run there, as the United States now faces off, and they are in a different color than we've seen from them most of the time. They've been a lot of silver and metallic, but they are in white with blue, and a mostly blue for Korea, who is really struggling with this boat portion. And the U.S. has a pretty good size advantage right off the bat, just now making contact with the boat. Is that second marble? Let's see how big the U.S. can make it. Here comes Korea, though. What a comeback in that first funnel, as Korea was way behind in the water portion of this matchup, which involves the boat, Motorized, and making its way towards the relay to connect with their teammate and push them forward, and Korea has done a great job here. They have built a very large lead over the United States. This might be too big to overcome, as they are circling that funnel. Let's see if the United States can pull a fast one on them. The answer is no. Korea will make their way toward the final descent first. That was a struggle for France last time. However, Korea is in trouble. It's going to come down to the end, and at the finish, it's Korea going to come out by just under 1/10 of a second. They beat out the United States and move on. They will take on Switzerland, as now we get Australia against Brazil. That was a very close finish. And it is very tight, but it will be Australia in the lead with the dark blue. Lighter blue and a little bit of yellow being represented for Brazil. And we will see how big of a lead can be produced. 3 prongs worth, however you want to measure that. That is the lead right now, and we'll see when you actually get to actual seconds. They were going to hit the funnel at 35, and well, kind of went out of the camera view, so it's a little bit difficult to tell where they hit it. Somewhere around the 40-second mark on that one, so about a 4-second lead for Australia, and we'll see when they come out of it how big the lead is, but Brazil just overcame them. And Brazil comes down to the finish first, passed back up by Australia, and now the lead goes back to Brazil, and they are going to finish first. It went back and forth at the... Oh, wait! Did they? Yes, they did. They did make that finish, and Brazil will move on. It was a tight matchup there. Back and forth they went. And we are into the quarterfinal now, and the first matchup is Costa Rica against Russia. And the starting gates moved a little slowly there. Oh, very even. And so Russia being closer towards the funnel, they will get out first, but through the funnel first is Costa Rica. They're still pretty tight. And a close matchup here. Lead belongs to Costa Rica. They're through the tunnel, so is Russia. And now, one of the important aspects here. Who gets out of this funnel first? The answer is Costa Rica. They'll have their first opportunity to make their way down this very decision-heavy portion of the course, and they will finish it off at actually under a minute, 54 seconds. And Russia got stuck. Yep, they're going to get stuck, and they will finish this one off. So Russia's not going to complete the course, and Costa Rica's into the semifinals. So a DNF did not finish for Russia, as they are denied an opportunity. And now we get Mexico against Argentina. Mexico looks like they're in the lead. Pretty tight, though. Let's see who's going to make contact first, and it's almost dead even. We've seen that has been an important part, but at times you've been able to overcome that. We saw that with Korea against the United States. U.S. had a huge lead in the boat portion of the race, and Korea passed them up on that first funnel, and ultimately won it in a tight matchup. Argentina in the lead early here, and they are into the tunnel and making their descent toward the final funnel. They've got that advantage. They've got the inside line, but Mexico passed them up. They are going to have their first shot at the finish, and they are making quick work of it early. Let's see if they can continue that. Down to the final decision. Oh, but Argentina passes them up and gets the win. They finish just under a minute, and just over a minute, and out of the race is Mexico. And now it is the Korean Republic against Switzerland. That was a big comeback there. Mexico passed them up, and Argentina comes from behind to pull a fast one on them. This is Korea against Switzerland. Korea is the blue marble. Switzerland in a very clear look, and they're out of the funnel first. Very tight with each other. They both got stuck on a portion where the conveyor belt is mostly empty. And so they're right next to each other. The lead belongs to Switzerland early. Oh, look at Korea. They really picked up some speed, and I think they may have made contact with Switzerland. And Korea's through first. They are really moving right now, and Switzerland might be in a little bit of trouble. They're still not out of the funnel. Now they are, but only one decision to make, and Korea is moving on. As they came towards that final funnel, all of the speed, and it's nearly an 8-second win. All the speed was belonging to Korea, and they not only did they pick up the speed and make contact, but they also surpassed Switzerland rather easily there. Spain against Brazil here. Both of these boats moving pretty quickly and almost dead even. Brazil in the lead right now. However, we've seen a lot of times that left side has been able to get the inside advantage, and that'll happen once again. Spain gets out first, trying to build the advantage. One prong separates the two countries. About one length of the track there. And toward that final funnel, we'll see if Spain can once again get out first. The answer is yes, they've still got the lead on Brazil. And now it is their race to lose. Here comes Brazil. Will it be too little too late? It is. Spain leads from start to finish, basically, and will advance to the semifinals with a finishing time of 1 minute and 2 seconds. And we have our semifinal now. The matchup first is Costa Rica against Korea. As we make our way on the boats, hopefully both these countries hoping that they will have one more time with the boats. Wow, you've got a lot of speed from Korea as they once again made contact with the other marble, making their way toward a funnel. They get out first, and they've built a little bit of a lead here against Costa Rica. The Korean Republic looks very strong right now. A lot of confidence after they took out the United States with a back and forth win. A comeback win last time against Switzerland. And now they have the lead pretty early against Costa Rica. In a different spot this time. Can they hold on to it? They're in the funnel, as is Costa Rica now. It is Korea out first toward the finishing platform. Ooh, pretty tight here. Last decision, and it's a pass at the final moment. Costa Rica will win it, and they are going to the finals. And they'll face either Argentina or Spain. Big comeback there. Opening gates rise. And right now the lead looks like it belongs to Argentina. Oh, almost dead even there. Watch it again. Let's see if Argentina gets out first. They were on the left side. Have to wonder what it is that causes them to typically get out first, but this time it's Spain. What in the funnel first comes out first, but they are very tight. They were basically right on each other before they make it to the conveyor belt. And let's see if Argentina can pick up some ground here. They do. Again, it's tight. Argentina is pushing Spain to the funnel. And now, do they get out first? If they do, they've got the advantage. If they don't, you still have to give Spain the advantage. They do. Argentina makes the pass in the funnel. Now they're making their way down that final portion of this course. Here comes Spain. They are tight. It is Spain that's going to make the pass and get the win. And Spain is into the final against Costa Rica. But first we'll get the third place matchup, which is between Korea and Argentina. I honestly thought the Korean Republic had a good chance to win this tournament, especially with how well they started running in the middle of this portion, but they got overtaken by Costa Rica at the end of this matchup. And now it looks like Argentina is going to get out first. Yep, they do have the lead, and they do get to the funnel first. And Argentina in the lead. Trying to grow that lead for the light blue and white marble. A little bit of silver mixed in there as well. The all blue of the Korean Republic. And they are trying to take the lead. However, Argentina did a great job of blocking that. And now they're going to try to quickly make it through. And this is going to be one of the bigger wins. Argentina secures third place and a spot on the podium as they take out Korea in dominant fashion, and they beat them by almost 8 seconds. That was the second largest win at 7.97 seconds, second largest of this tournament. And now we get to the final matchup of the day. This is the championship for the gold, and then subsequently the silver. Early lead belongs to Costa Rica. They are through the water portion for the final time. Lead belongs to Costa Rica. They're into the funnel first. Spain has gotten through the funnel first each of the last 2 times. That has been huge for them. This time, they will play catch-up, but it is a tight matchup, and they are coming right now for Costa Rica. Look how close they are. They ran into each other waiting for the conveyor belt, and they ended up in a spot of the course, or the spot of the conveyor belt, where it's very, very tight. It looks as though Spain has a little bit of more speed right now. They are trying to catch up. Very close with Costa Rica. Who gets out of this funnel first? That may determine the champion. It's Costa Rica. How big of a lead do they have? How much of a cushion do they have to get through this final portion? Not very much. However, they're down to the final spot. Costa Rica is going to be passed up. It's going to come down to the finish. Costa Rica gets it by 0.03 of a second. Costa Rica wins it. And you have to look at the slow-mo replay as just a hair too late for Spain. They earn the silver, but Costa Rica gets gold. What a finish, as you will crown the very deserving champion of Costa Rica. Argentina earns third. Spain, with a valiant effort, they get second, but Costa Rica with an incredible run at the end and a photo finish if you've ever seen one. They win the gold. They take home the trophy. An incredible matchup and a great finish to this tournament. And so for Marble Fubeca and for MSPN, I'm Rick O'Shea, and thanks for watching. As 2019 moves further and further through the year, it appears as though our courses are going to be becoming grander and grander and maybe harder and harder as we welcome you to another edition of MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. Rick O'Shea here, glad to have you with us for another tournament. As you see, our very large and oval course, this is going to be a time trial tournament here today, which is different than what we've seen typically throughout many of our races. A lot of those have involved competition directly with other marbles and contact with other marbles. That is not the case for today, as this is going to be solely on who can get to the bottom first. And they'll be running on separate tracks, parallel with each other. As you see our statistics so far, how the teams have fared in 2019, a bevy of teams with a couple of championships. Nobody has reached 3 yet. Here's who's competing today. Uruguay will take on Italy, and then Spain against the United States. It is India and Russia, and then Croatia and Argentina. Right side of the bracket is China against Portugal, Colombia and Canada. In the final quadrant in the top right, it's Brazil taking on Greece, who hasn't made very many appearances, but they're here today. And then Mexico taking on Chile. First matchup is Uruguay against Italy. Uruguay is on the top with the oceanic blue, and on the bottom is more of a sky-colored blue, and that's Italy, who gets out first. They've got the early advantage, making their first turn around this large and very ovalish course, and we'll see, as they've gotten, looks like a pretty sizable advantage right now. We'll see when these teams start to pick up speed as they make their way down the course. Right now, it's just not to be, and Italy is going to get the win. Time of 25:03. That's good enough by 0.12 of a second to take out Uruguay. So Italy gets the win, and now we go to the top right of our tournament, and that is Mexico against Chile. Mexico in the dark green, Chile in the red, white, blue, and yellow in their marble as well. And Mexico's got the lead as they are about halfway through this course. Well, maybe not halfway quite yet, but they've got the advantage, trying to build that advantage now on Chile, and they are doing that with some success. One more turnaround, and down to the finish line they go. Mexico with the best time so far, 24:19. And so Croatia will take on Argentina now. Croatia's got yellow with white, and they've got some blue, maybe a little bit of red involved there with their marble as well. Mostly solid blue for Argentina. They've got a huge lead right out of the gates. Time to beat is 24:19 if you want to have the record as the best time in the tournament, but you're only trying to beat Croatia right now, and if you're Argentina, you're doing a great job of it. This isn't even close. Huge lead. One more time around. Here they go, and Argentina. Oh, just a little bit too slow to take out Mexico for the top time, but they have an easy near 2-second win over Croatia. So now China will take on Portugal. We'll see what both of these teams have, and once again, early on, it's the bottom team who gets the early advantage, but they are dead even their first time around. Portugal and China, and they are still very close. Portugal looks like they've got a little bit of a lead. Here comes China. They've got the advantage. They've got the speed. Can they carry it through? They've got a very small lead. Last time around, here they come. It is China who's going to pull it out by 0.05 of a second, and the fastest time we've seen so far, 24:15. China's got the lead for best time, and they've got a spot in the second round locked up, as Russia will now take on India. Russia's in the dark red with some yellow and white involved, and India, despite not having very many national colors, they've got a very white presence, as Russia starting to pick up the speed. They've now passed India. Still pretty close. Couple more times around. That was a good run right there for Russia. They extend the lead significantly. And now you can almost not even see India. It's going to be an easy win for Russia. And their time, 24:17. Nearly a second over India, who ran a pretty quick time themselves, but nothing was going to be able to compete with that run for Russia. Just 0.02 of a second behind the overall leader, China. But again, that doesn't matter in terms of who's going to move on or seeding moving forward. That's just for, I guess, bragging rights, if you will, as Colombia takes on Canada. You want to say that you've got the fastest time. Right now, Canada has the fastest time out of these two, as they've got the lead over Colombia on that bottom rail, trying to stretch it out a little bit. Gain some momentum going into the next round. They're definitely going to go to the next round, though. That's without a doubt, as Canada just 1/100th of a second off that time put up by China. They get the win, though, and they will move on to the next round, and now we get Spain against the United States. The U.S. typically in their silver, but they are very patriotic today. Red, white, and blue taking on the patriotic themselves, red and yellow, dark red and yellow of Spain. Spain with an early lead right now. Just trying to stretch that out a little bit. They have just a tiny bit. Now Spain gaining a little bit more of a lead. It's still very close. The United States is going to need to make something happen at the very end. Here we go. Down to the last turn, and it is the U.S. that comes from behind. Whoa, what a run by the United States. That last turn, and they pulled it out to take over the top time, the shortest time for this tournament so far for a single run. Best time, the U.S. at 24:14. And that's got to be very frustrating for Spain, as they equaled China with the second best time, but it's not enough. As Brazil takes on Greece now. Greece has not appeared very often, and right now they are behind Brazil as Brazil tries to stretch out this lead. It's going to be a pretty common phrase. One more time around. I don't think Greece has it. Let's see if they do. At the end, they do not. By 0.06 of a second, it's Brazil, and so Greece, who makes a rare appearance, they make a short appearance here in today's tournament as they go down in round number 1, and the final spot in the second round goes to Brazil. Russia and Argentina on the same area of our stands. It's a double-decker in terms of the stadium seating for today's matchup. We get Russia against Argentina. We'll see who comes out first. The answer is Russia, and they look like they've got some good speed. Argentina trying to hang with them. They're doing a pretty good job so far. Let's see on the third time. Russia picking up a little more speed. Time number 4, and they are again advancing that lead just a tad bit. Next time around, they will go toward the finish line. And Russia is into the semifinals. Beat them by more than a tenth, and they just ran the fastest time by 0.06 of a second. That's a pretty significant advantage there. 24:08. Russia into the semis with the fastest time of the tournament. And now we get Canada against China. Canada ran a very quick time, as did China. And Canada with a very slow start. That could be trouble. Oh, they are really far behind. They're going to have to make up a lot of time on these turns in the oval. And I don't know if they can do it against China. China seems to be stretching out the lead more and more. It may have been over when it started for Canada, as they fall behind early, and they will not have enough willpower or manpower to get this one back within striking distance. Almost a full second as China, with a time of 24:21, advances to the semifinals, and they will take on either Mexico or Brazil. But first, we find out who will be Russia's opponent, as it's the United States against Italy. Italy won the first matchup of this entire tournament, and let's see what they can do. The United States, if the top team comes out first, you seem to be in trouble because they seem to have had a lot of speed. That wasn't the case there. The United States came out a little bit behind Italy, but now they've taken the lead. Seem to be trying to pull ahead. It's still pretty close, but Italy may not be within striking distance. Now they're really losing time, and the United States is going to cruise to the semifinals. They win this one by nearly a second themselves, 24:18, and the U.S., after just squeaking by Spain in round 1, they win this one pretty easily by 93 hundredths of a second there, as Mexico takes on Brazil now. This is a heavy weight matchup here. Brazil against Mexico. Mexico has the early advantage, and they look to have a sizable advantage now, maybe stretching it out a bit more. Mexico, this was supposed to be mano a mano, and it looks as though it was maybe rather easy for Mexico. They have dominated this run, and the Mexicans are into the semifinals, and how much are they going to beat them by? Over a second they beat Brazil. And the third fastest time of the day belongs to Mexico. That was impressive. And they get China for their efforts there. They will face them in the semifinals, but first back to the other side. The United States on the bottom now for the first time. They take on Russia. And the U.S. got a good jump. Let's see if Russia can make something up on those spirals. Not really. Now they're making up some time. Almost dead even. It is just barely the United States as they come back around. U.S. trying to pull it back ahead now. Trying to regain the momentum and regain their foothold on this matchup. Down to the end, and the U.S. is going to win it by 3 hundredths. Just did get that win as Russia is taken out. And now Mexico will take on China for the other spot in the championship. So Russia's got the best time, but they do not have a spot in the championship. They'll have to settle for a chance to get third place. Here is China against Mexico. Mexico with a dominant run last time, beating Brazil. And we'll see what China can do. Now they seem to be pushing out their lead. Mexico had it against Brazil. It doesn't look like they have it against China. One more time around. This time they'll come to the finish line. And China gonna win it, and they just broke the record for best time in this tournament. 24:05. What a run for China as they break records on their way to a championship matchup. They'll face the United States, but first it's Russia against Mexico. Here they go, and Mexico did not get a very good start there. Let's see if they can make some comebacks here. Actually, they're going to come out first still. Did not look like they had the advantage. Russia pulling it nearly dead even that time. Now Mexico trying to pull it back out. A couple more times around this oval they will go for the final times. Next time around, it will be at the finish. Oh, this is going to be close. Here comes Mexico, and they beat them. 1/100th of a second. Got to check the timer for that one, but Mexico earns their spot on the podium. Impressive run by the Mexicans, and a great job to hold off Russia at the very end. A great effort, but not to be. And now it is the United States against China. It comes down to this. Western civilizations against the Eastern civilizations as they face off here. Who takes the cake? China with a very slight advantage. Still pretty slight. Now the United States has the lead as they take it back. Here comes China, and they take the lead back. Only a couple more turns. It looks like China's trying to pull it out. They gain the advantage. They come down one more time, and China's going to get the win. They hold the best time in the semifinal round, and they ultimately get the win and earn gold. Congratulations to China. North America did pretty well, earning third and second, but ultimately it's the Far East that is going to earn that trophy and move up in our team standings. Congratulations to China in what was a very quick, very interesting matchup. Hopefully we'll see more of these with our time trials that consist of these marbles not really being anywhere near each other. Provided a very interesting setup, and so hopefully we'll have some more of that going forward. But until next time, this has been MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca, and I'm Ricochet.